What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we're going to go ahead and do our treasure map team breakdowns up against the Charlotte Linlin. Now, this video today is going to be looking at my own personal teams. I'm not really going to go ahead and make a quote-unquote accessible team, because with the way that the treasure map boosted list is right now, Bandai don't really make it very accessible in order to clear this content. It is very, very difficult, so we'll see how things go. I'm still not extremely confident in my own teams. I think they're going to be okay, but I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and break down each of these teams, and we'll discuss how each of them work as we go along. So here we have our first boss, which is against Teach. Teach here is an int character, so predominantly want to build with side units. He gives cooldown to all characters. So his preemptive attack, he has an ability which changes all your slots into badly matching. He also will have a damage nullification buff for 1 turn, and a 1-turn barrier where you need to hit him with rainbow slots. So we are going to go ahead and use Rayleigh as our captain, because with his special alone, we get a full water matching slots, attack boost, orb boost. With the support of Zoro, we get a color affinity boost for our side units as well, and we get a full water slots, as we said. And he also allows our fighter and cerebral characters to bypass defensive effects, which just gets through everything. So when we reach the final stage, we just use Rayleigh and we win. And then on this team as well, we do have Brook. Brook is going to be used to wave clear the first 2 stages, so Teach is going to be an extremely fast fight for this team. Moving on to our next boss, which are going to be against Alvida and Kobe. This team, of course, doesn't have a lot of point boosters, but it's mainly just kind of built to try and be as fast as possible. So for this one, Fighters, Strikers, and Free Spirits are the characters that receive a bunch of cooldown. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Cat Viper with the super type to wave clear the first 2 stages. We have the Hiyori on the team to give a full board of Wano slots with the crewmate ability, so we have a full board of matching slots guaranteed. And then when we reach the final stage with the ship that we have, which is the upgraded level 12 Merry-Go, it has the ability, when you get 1 modification on it, to remove 1 turn of despair. That, in combination with the Perona and the support of Kuma, will give us a further 5-turn removal of despair and a further 3 turns with our socket. So that's going to be 9-turn removal of despair, which is what we're inflicted with when we reach this final stage. There's also going to be 6 turns of burn. We have Green Bull, Ryokyugyu, who can remove that burn for us, and then he also gives a full board of deck slots, which doesn't matter because we have Wano slots, but he gives a really good orb boost. And then with the support of Kizaru, we get a tap timing bonus buff, which is pretty nice. Cat Viper's captain ability will enable us to get around the barrier that's on this stage as well, and if we need an attack boost, we can go ahead and use the Dog Storm special as well. We could probably put a support on here to generate a color affinity boost, but it's probably not the end of the world. I just realized that I have the support of Roger and Odin attached to Hiyori, which gives our slasher characters an attack boost on the final stage, which for this team, we have the 2 Cat Vipers, the Dog Storm, and the Hiyori are all slashers, so they're all going to receive that attack boost for free. So we don't even have to use the Dog Storm special, but I guess if you wanted a higher multiplier, you could take that support off of Hiyori, then use the Dog Storm special. But for now, this is looking like a pretty okay team. Wave clear with the Cat Vipers, and then just use the special of Ryokyugyu on the final stage. Alright, so moving on to the Doflamingo mini-boss. Characters that are Strength, Dex, and Psi receive cooldown. And with this team, we're going to be using Zorojuro to wave clear the first 2 stages. When we reach the final stage, we're going to use the switch effect of Vivian Rebecca, and then the special of Vivian Rebecca, which is going to give us the ability to remove all of the enemy's defense, because they have 12 turns of defense up, which is really annoying. So Vivian and Rebecca get around all of that, as well as giving color affinity, and of course with the switch effect we get the chain buff, which is really, really nice. I just realized that on the final stage we're given block slots, so I suppose we could go ahead and put the Brûlé support on Nami. That would probably make a bit of sense. So on the final stage, we're going to get a full board of matching slots. We can also use Kobe to get an orb boost if we need it. We can use Nami for a chain boundary, I guess, or her conditional boost, which is, I guess, actually not too bad. So that could definitely work. I do think that the switch effect and special of Vivian and Rebecca will help, at least in the early stages. Eventually, we're going to need to go ahead and use more than 1 special to kill the Doffy stage, but for now, this should be pretty okay. And now we get to the final Battle Rush boss, which is against Mr. Zero and Ms. All Sunday. So with this team, Slashers, Driven, and Cerebral receive cooldown. The notable thing about this fight is that there's 10 turns of Special Bind, which is why I've got Roger Rayleigh Gaban as a crewmate, because as a captain, they don't actually get around the Special Bind. They have to be a sub in order to get around it. So as a crewmate, you can use their special to get around the Special Bind. They also have a really good color affinity boost to Slashers and Strikers, and with the support of 10th Anniversary Ace, that actually amplifies that color affinity even more. We have the special of Carrot, which can give us an orb boost, and then the support of Dogstorm gives an attack boost. So just by using Rayleigh and Roger Rayleigh Gaban, that should be enough to get through that stage. If we do need more, then we can obviously use Carrot for even more damage, and then we've just got other characters surrounding just to kind of supplement that damage. We do use Vista on the first 2 stages for wave clearing, really nice character to do that. This team doesn't really guarantee matching slots, which I guess is the only thing I'm somewhat concerned about. But at least for now, I think it's going to be relatively okay to use this team to clear this. Another reason why we opted for Carrot is because the enemy has 6 turns of a Rainbow Shield, sorry. So by using Carrot as our captain, we can just bypass that Rainbow Shield completely, which is really, really nice. Okay, now we get to the meat and potatoes, which is going to be the final boss against Ace. So of course, the friend captain for this is going to be the new Sabo from the treasure map Sugo Fest. Now, Sabo is really wonky in terms of the way that he's designed. In order to get all of his abilities to activate, you need 4 characters on your team that are Revolutionary Army, and unfortunately with the boosted list that we have, there's just not an easy way to do that unless if you literally pulled your own Sabo, your own Koala, your own Hack. Otherwise, good luck, right? It's just so dumb. Let's kind of break down how this team is going to be working. So on stage 2, we're inflicted with Special Bind, which is why we're going to use the switch and special of Mihawk and Perona. We do also have the support of Akainu. Now, the reason why we have that is because the friend captain Sabo's captain ability has an effect that makes strength slots beneficial to the whole team. So by using the special of Mihawk and Perona on that stage, and then the Akainu support will trigger, it literally just gives us a full board of matching slots, which is dope. We have to deal with Hunger, which Crocodile deals with his potential ability, which is really, really good. And then we also have 6 turns of attack down, and this is where we would go ahead and use the friend captain Sabo special. Sabo does remove 6 turns of attack down. So by using Mihawk and Perona switch and special, and the friend captain Sabo, that should be able to get around all of the abilities on this stage. Eventually, when we reach the final stage, we're inflicted with 9 turns of bind on our captains. So this is where all of these supports are going to be coming into play. First of which we have the support attached to who we got here. We have the Baccarat, which removes 2 turns of bind and despair. We also have the Otama, which removes 2 turns of bind. We have the Karasu, which removes 1 turn of bind. And then we also have the Ship, which is going to be the Grand Tesoro, which also removes 1 turn of bind. So 1 from Ship, 1 from Karasu, 2 from Otama, 2 from Baccarat, which is 2, 4, 6, and then with our sockets, that's 9. So it's 9 turn removal complete. We get a full board of matching slots as well. We have 6 turns of attack down, 3 turns defense, 3 turn Rainbow Shield, 6 turn Threshold. So this is where Nami and Karina are really good. So by switching into Karina and using Karina's special, that removes the Threshold, the defense, and the attack down all by herself, plus it gives us an orb boost. And then we can go ahead and use the Big Mom to remove the Rainbow Shield, and then we also have Crocodile, which can give us a really good attack boost. So that's how I plan to take down Ace. I don't know in terms of damage how good / bad it's going to be, but that's the overall plan that I have in order to take down this Ace boss with this team. Okay, so now we get to the Intrusion boss. This is the most difficult fight in this content. It is ridiculous how they have designed this. So you want to build with Fighter, Cerebral, and Powerhouse in mind. So let's break down exactly what's going on here. So let's pull up the quest because it's just so dumb. So first of which, Battle 2, the first line there, it says that you get chain attack down. It's for 1 turn, and your chain needs to be 2.75 or higher in order to actually start doing meaningful damage. The other thing to note is that you do see that there is an Intimidate, the bottom line right here, where it says that it reduces certain effects by 2 turns, and it affects Chain Multiplier Boost, Multiplicative, as well as Chain Multiplier Boost additions, as well as Set Chain Multiplier, which includes Chain Locks, Chain Boundaries. Any chain-related special used on this stage will be reduced by 2 turns, right? So if you activate 1 turn Chain Lock or a 2 turn Chain Lock, it's not going to help you here. And then that extends to battle 3, where you see once again there's another chain attack down, where you actually need to have a 3 times chain or higher to actually do meaningful damage. And then, on top of all that, when you reach this final stage, there's also a 12-turn chain lock that they give you. I think it's 12 turns, where you only get a 1.1 times chain lock. So, like, they really want you to try and get some type of meaningful chain lock. If you have a look at Sabo's kit once again, you see right at the bottom here, it's if you have 4 or more Rev armies on the team, launch this effect at the start of the quest, you get a 3.0 chain boundary for 5 turns. So basically they want you to use Sabo and get that effect to activate in order to actually start doing damage on battle 2 and battle 3. It is so brain dead because in order to actually do this, it's basically you have to use non-boosted units or pull for the new characters. It is so dumb. So, in terms of how I'm getting around it, I'm going to be using a combination of a couple different units. So first of which, I have checked, I do have enough cooldown. We're using this character, which is Izo and Okiku. Now, this character does not receive cooldown from the preemptive attack on stage 1. This character does have a special that gives you a 3.5 chain lock for 3 turns. That's important. After we use Izo, remember, on stage 2, that actually becomes a 1-turn chain lock, right? But then we can use Summertime Nami with her special ability here, once it loads. For some reason, it's taken forever. This character has an effect. If the captain, right here at the top of the paragraph, if the captain is Striker or Cerebral class, you get the 3.25 chain boundary for 1 turn. That's fine. But then it also says, if you have 3 or more Straw Hat or Paramecias on the team, or you have Overheal status, allows paralysis to go through immunity basically, but then extends the duration of your chain locks by 2 turns. So that's important, because after we use Izo and Okiku, it goes down to a 1 turn, but then we use Nami special, which extends our chain lock to 3 turns, which means the chain lock from stage 2 will be able to carry into stage 3, which means that we can get around the chain attack down, and we're not inflicted with the nasty 1.1 times chain lock by the enemy. So I just kind of had to cover that because some people may ask the question. That is essentially the main goal of building a team against this fight, is do you have a way to deal with that chain attack down? If you don't, you are screwed. Another alternative way that you could potentially get around it is if you use like a non-boosted Shirahoshi and Mansheri to remove that chain attack down. Of course, you can only remove it on one of the 2 stages, so you'd probably do it on stage 3, but then again, it's a 12-turn chain attack down on stage 3, which makes it even worse. Then again, on the final stage, like, I don't know, it's just, there's so many different, like, roadblocks that they put in your way to try and force you to use this Sabo combination, which is so brain dead. Anyways, let's talk about some other things. This character, I've kind of realized, is kind of absolutely busted for this boss fight, which is this Bluegrass. The main reason for it is because on stage 2, where you have to deal with the first chain boundary and the Intimidate for your chain, this character removes 6 turns of increased defense. On stage 2, there's also 6 turns of increased defense, so it gets around that. Another thing, the next line, it deals 60 times her attack and dex damage to all enemies at the end of the turn for the next 3 turns. That's also important, because when you reach the final stage, there's 6 turns of resilience. So being able to use this to get around the resilience is amazing. And then remember, we're using this on stage 2. It changes all slots including block into tandem, and then we also get a 3-turn orb boost. On the final stage, there is an Intimidate for orb boost, minusing it by 2 turns. So essentially, you can use this on stage 2 to get around the defense, the block slots, you get an orb boost out of it, which is really cool, and then on the final stage, you'll still have an orb boost, and your orbs are also locked on stage 2, so you'll have a full board of matching slots as well. And then you can go ahead and have the end of turn damage to get around the resilience. So Bluegrass is like amazing for this Intrusion fight. Now as for the other characters here, we have the Carrot and Wanda. I don't really know specifically why I put Carrot. Oh yeah, right, because we needed to fulfill the condition for Nami, because in order for her to extend the chain locks for 2 turns, we do need to have 3 characters on the team, Straw Hats and Paramecias. So the way that we are fulfilling that is by having Perona, of course. I guess technically Bluegrass is also a Paramecia. So yeah, those 2 characters on the crew are really important. So having Perona, Paramecia, Bluegrass, Paramecia, and then we also have the Nami character who is a Straw Hat, so it fulfills all 3 of those tags, and then that's the reason why we're doing that. Carrot, of course, can provide an orb boosting buff for multiple stages, because when you use her first special, she gets her special back again, so we can use it on like stage 2 and on stage 3. And then Mihawk and Perona can provide us with a conditional boost. That's basically why they're here, and they're also a relatively decent point boost. So yeah, essentially the biggest thing about this is just the whole chain related scenario, and they put so many roadblocks in your way to prevent you from actually doing meaningful damage. So if you're able to get around that, you're over halfway there to building a team that can actually get through this content, right? One thing I forgot to mention, right at the bottom of Battle 2, you do see the enemy has a barrier. You need to hit them with 2 Dex Orbs in order to break it, but then they also have slot attack down, so they take less damage from any slot that basically isn't a tandem slot. So essentially what I'm going to do is by activating the switch effect here of Kara and Wanda, it is going to completely remove their effects, doubles the attack of these characters, so you get an attack boost out of it, which is really important. But then when we activate the special ability of this character, it's going to set enemies defense to 0, we get the orb boost, we get the cooldown, and it allows this character's normal attacks to bypass defensive effects. So that's important. So we'd activate the switch effect of Carrot first, and then we'd activate Bluegrass, so we have a tandem slot on Carrot and Wanda. We'll have attack boost, orb boost, we'll have a chain lock from the Izo Okiku, so we're just basically banking on Carrot and Wanda to be the heavy hitter against the stage 2 fight. I thought I should probably mention that, just in case if people were wondering as well. Carrot and Wanda are going to be kind of the most important thing on stage 2 in terms of being able to actually do damage. I guess, I don't know, I probably haven't mentioned Sabo special as well, because of course we're using Sabo as a friend captain. We're going to use Sabo in the final stage because, I guess, why not, right? There's actually no real reason to actually use him on the final stage because we actually will have a chain lock. So I guess that actually doesn't really matter. But anyways, these are the teams that I have for you guys for my treasure map for this upcoming event. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.